take the most unjust, unfair experience that you can remember. A time that you did absolutely no wrong and still you were treated unjustly. And you had all the good reasons to blame everyone else. In each such experience, there is an unlimited power to relinquish strain, connect with a deep potency, and allow us to conquer deep-rooted seeds of false assumptions about ourselves and others. How we acted back in such circumstance doesn't just affect that particular chain of reactions from that specific activity. It affects other things that resolve patterns of behavior that we develop because of that, and that whole experience literally clings into our subconsciousness very, very deeply. Basically affects all of our interactions until and when we heal from it. Assuming 100, or as I like to say 108% responsibility over everything that happens to us, be that good or bad, has the potential to heal these deep-rooted misunderstandings in our life, these deep-rooted behavioral patterns that seated deep into our conscious and especially the subconscious. So in this video I want to share a very intimate experience that I had in the past that traumatized me and affected me since then. Also, towards the end of the video, I'll be making a special announcement about a workshop that I'm planning on the 25th of October, next Sunday, basically. So if you want to hear more about that workshop, make sure that you watch the video till the end. Sharing this, my purpose is to show the difference, what's the difference between falling victim into and liberating ourselves through stepping into responsibility, even around things which seem to be a matter of fate. Back when I was 13, I got stabbed. I was in the wrong place, hanging out with the wrong people, in the wrong time. And pretty much up until this day, I could not understand for the last 17 years why that happened. And it's not that there was no police investigation, court, all these things happened. And yet the answer that they gave me, which was that he was intoxicated, he didn't know what he was doing, it never really satisfied me. Deep inside, I always felt like, damn, I'm such a victim. I'm the victim of my circumstances. I assumed all kind of things, like that was my karma and whatever, but I felt like something never really clicked. I always felt like something was missing. And because that something that was missing was my personal responsibility, every time I would tell that story, either to myself or to others, I would always fall into this victim role, which will disempower me. It will disempower me not just in that specific circumstance, but throughout my life. What does it mean to be in a victim role? To be in a victim role means that we let others or circumstances dictate how we go with our life, what kind of consciousness we get with our life. And because we let others dictate our life, we automatically assume a disempowered position in our relationship with others. Instead of creating the relationships that we want, the job that we want, the life that we want, we passively agree to what others think about us, want from us, need from us. And later, pretty much, we just call it faith. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will continue to direct your life and you will call it fate. This is a great quotation from Carl Gustav Jung, which depicts the situation. Getting out of that victim role and relinquishing our true self requires a deep commitment to ourselves. Commitment to be responsible, commitment to hold ourselves responsible to 108%. But for the 13-year-old Rama, it was extremely difficult. He believed 108% that should have not happened to him. He didn't deserve that. He was just a child. He didn't even know the person that stabbed him. Why did that happen to him? I literally had all the excuses to avoid that, and I did for the last 17 years. This innocent outlook, which basically was a guilt trip, compromised my integrity, really facing that challenge. And it continued to disempower me when I would attempt to establish close relationships with friends or even family. Stepping out of that victim role and assuming 108% responsibility, I can actually see now how much and how many spheres that guilt trip affected me. What did it mean for me to take 108% responsibility over that someone stabbed me and not turn it to yet again a guilt trip? Each and one of us has his own particular way how to take charge and be responsible for what we do and what happens to us. For me, becoming more responsible was acknowledging my consciousness, acknowledging how much self-centered I was, and how much that led me to not being conscious of the environment I'm in and who I'm sharing my life with. For a long time, I thought it is all just the works of karma, right? It's all happened because of karma. But bringing karma into perspective doesn't actually help, especially spiritual people who already know about it. Why? Because many times it actually creates another bypass, another excuse not to take responsibility, another excuse to just blame something else for that. Only this time it's something much more great, which is not close to being under our control. But there's another thing that we can offer to ourselves to really relinquish that experience, to really get strong from assuming a responsible position, rather than addressing something which is again beyond our control. Because we can always try to understand our consciousness. At the end, no matter what we do and what we choose, we can all choose our consciousness. We can choose to be in the consciousness of responsibility, knowing that I create my experience. I'm responsible for creating my experience right now. I attract everything that happens to me because of my consciousness. The fair, the unfair, the just, and all the unjust circumstances is a result of my particular consciousness and how I choose it. For me, it was acknowledging how much my consciousness was, again, like I said, self-centered. It was so self-centered that actually I didn't care if I'm showing off around friends, peers, or around jealous and mean people that want to do harm to me. I don't believe that mine or anyone's desire to seek validation for his money, his opulence, his achievements, his dress, the way he looks, is something negative or bad. We all deserve to be validated. We all deserve to be appreciated. But to seek it from persons who are not giving that validation out of love, but out of jealousy, out of hate, out of spite, resolves in aggression and ultimately violence. And that's what happened to me back then. And it happened to me actually throughout my life after. And until the point that I start questioning myself, what did I do actually that attracted that? What kind of mindset I had at that time of my life that attracted that? Why that happened to me? Not from a victim guilt trip point of view, but what actually I contributed that made that terrible experience possible. Until I start asking that question and really trying to figure out how come I'm still considering myself a victim, I never actually learned that lesson. I never actually learned the power in discrimination of showing ourselves fully to the right people, and how much empowering it can be rather than disempowering and threatening. So relinquishing our empowerment is especially crucial when we come to these unjust circumstances in life. When all the cards are against us, when we have all the excuses to lay back, play the victim, and blame others. And yet, if we are able to actually assume responsibility and dive deep into what makes us an empowered conscious being, especially in these circumstances, the lessons and teachings that we gain will be so empowering, not just to ourselves, but to others, to the whole world. I invite you all to experiment on yourself. Find a quiet place to meditate on one of these circumstances in your personal life, or perhaps try to tap or raise that question of how would I change? How would my consciousness change if I assume 100% responsibility over myself and over everything that happens to me throughout all my life, and how that will affect you now? Let me know down in the comments below if you connect with this message. This is just one out of 3 different ways that we can become fully responsible and empower ourselves. I'll be presenting more about this approach and other approaches of how to become more integrated with our human experience and our spiritual life on the 25th of October, next Sunday, and invite you all to send me an email and register for this upcoming workshop. If you're interested in the workshop, drop me a message saying where you're from, why would you like to join that. Thank you for watching the video till the end. I invite you to share down in the comments below what do you think about this new concept of videos that I'm making. If you like it, make sure to give it this thumbs up, and also consider subscribing and hit the notification bell for further and more videos. See you next time. Hare Krishna.